Alright, hello. So today's video is going to be a palette collection video. I normally just film declutter collection videos, but whenever I film a declutter, which is every 3 months usually, I never open up every single palette that I own and show you what they look like. So I get a lot of questions about like, oh, I wonder what that one looks like. So today I decided I would just film my palette collection. I do have palettes in my filming room, but they're things that I haven't used. So these are all my used palettes that I use and own. So without any further ado, let's jump into it because we don't need a super long intro. I'm just showing you my palettes. Also, Orion's being really rambunctious today, so if he pops up, I'm sorry. They're not allowed in my drawers just for sanitary reasons, but if a drawer's open and I'm messing around in here, he might jump in. So let's start off with this first drawer. I keep this blush palette in here. It's not actually an eyeshadow palette, but it's just too big and bulky to store with anything else. But this is the Blush Book by Tarte. Now we have eyeshadow palettes. So this is the only one I have in the box that I own. It is the Mermaid Lagoon palette by Besame Cosmetics. The box was just too adorable not to keep. But honestly, I've only used it once. So this is from the 1953 Peter Pan movie. It's an adorable cover of the palette. And then we have the little brush here, it's still the thing. And here is the color scheme of the palette. So cute. I've only touched these two shades. I haven't touched anything else in this palette and I've only used it once. Now I'm wishing I hadn't even used it at all, so it would be like pristine. But for me, this color scheme is just really random. It's super, super cute. I bought it for the packaging and the theme. I have no excuse for owning this still. It was like in a maybe pile in my last declutter video. It might get decluttered in the next one, but honestly the packaging is just so cute I just keep it. So I don't know. Next up in here is the Morphe and Manny MUA Glam Palette. So I did review this. I have a full review of this palette. If I have a full review of these palettes, I will tell you so you can like click on my channel and search for them. I'm not going to link every single palette I did a video with because that would be most of them. But this is the Manny MUA Glam Palette. It's prettier in person than it is online, honestly. But for me, the quality was just not it. And since I bought it from Morphe's website, I don't really know how to return this. So yeah, I'll probably never use it again. Next up we have two Juvia's Place palettes. I used to have almost every single Juvia's Place palette except maybe one. And then I just decluttered them because I just wasn't using them. There's no point in collecting makeup just to have it, as I have a Besame palette. But this is the Warrior palette by Juvia's Place. It is a beautiful neutral palette. I love the golds in here. I love the shimmers in here. So freaking beautiful. If I was really talking about all these palettes, I'd probably end up swatching all of them, but that would make it just a huge mess. And just, I love this one. It's so good and it's really affordable. Next up, my favorite Juvia's Place palette, the Zulu palette. When I think of Juvia's Place, I think Zulu palette. It is an all over the place color scheme, and I don't even know if the quality is better than Warrior or anything, but to me, I just love the Zulu palette. I don't know what it is. I love it so much. I never use it anymore though. I never find myself reaching for that anymore because it's just so bright. I think I'm more into grungier things lately. Next up in here, I haven't actually used this. It is the Spoiled Cosmetics Donut palette. This is what the color scheme looks like. I put it in here because I meant to use it in the video and try it out because I haven't tried Spoiled Cosmetics eyeshadow formula yet. I just tried their liquid lipsticks. The color seems just so weird. Maybe that's why I haven't gravitated towards it, and it's kind of hard to store because it's round. But, you know. Next up in here is the Violet Voss Flamingo palette. When I first got this, when you guys gifted it to me, I was super into it. I really love like the yellow shimmery shades. I haven't found myself reaching for it too much lately just because they are very bright. And I feel like it's hard to make a cohesive look out of it without dipping into another palette. Because unless you want like a super, super orange look or a super, super pink look, it's just kind of hard to mesh with everything. But the eyeshadow quality themselves are very smooth in texture. Next up in here we have some Jeffree Star palettes. So this is the Jeffree Star Cosmetics Thirsty palette. Thank you guys for all the love on the ranking the Jeffree Star palettes video that I did. Honestly, it's like made my life a lot easier this month because I just feel like, oh my gosh, I actually got a video that has some traction. I felt great for a great start to the new year. So this is the Thirsty palette. I like the mattes in here. They're not my absolute favorite in the world in the glitter formula. I'm glad he's not doing this anymore. It's just kind of strange to me. But the color scheme of the palette itself is very nice. After that, we have the Jawbreaker palette. I don't know what the accent was. This quality of this palette is really, really good, except for two shades in here which don't come off the same color on the eyes as they do in the pan. The quality of this is just fantastic. Mine is kind of dirty. You can see like little black specks in some of the shadows, even though I try to clean it just because I let my boyfriend use this for Halloween makeups and stuff. But really good eyeshadow palette. Not my favorite color scheme just because it is very random, but if you need something for like a special occasion or you need a specific color, great resource to have. Down here we have a palette which I reviewed and left alone. This is the Morphe and Jeffree Star palette. This palette quality itself is pretty okay. People hate when I say it, but a lot of the shadows in here are pretty dry. They're not very buttery or creamy like a Jeffree Star formula is to be expected these days. The glitter shade is absolute garbage. It'll mess up any look you put it on. I think it's where there's one glitter too. Like, I don't like pressed glitters anyways, but just to have one random one in a random shade is weird to me. Honestly, I wanted this for the green shadows, and they're not like my favorite in the world, so I haven't used this since I reviewed it. Is what it is. Next up in here we have the Blue Blood palette. I love this sucker. It is so good. Hard to open, but the Blue Blood palette just so beautiful. It's honestly stunning to look at. This Cullinan shade, a beautiful highlight for your face, inner corners, everything. Ice Tray is probably my favorite shimmer. It's this one in the palette. Super good. And there's tons of neutrals in here too. Just pop throughout if you need a good transition shade. Okay, next Jeffree Star palette is the Blood Sugar palette. A classic. Mine does have like little nail marks in it because Azrael opened my palette drawer one day and started to claw out like a scratching board, which sucks. But this is the palette. I haven't used it in so long. I need to break this out again. I don't use that much like warm eyeshadows other than oranges or yellows. So I haven't used this a lot lately, but the whole top row is neutrals. If you ever put it in that perspective, it is very versatile palette. So great quality, kind of like an iconic palette at this point. Next up in here we have the Marvelous Mauves palette. It's like a little mini mauve palette by Dose of Colors. This is it right here. It is an all matte palette. These came in BoxyCharm. A lot of people have them for BoxyCharm. And I just think it's super, super cute. I don't necessarily always reach for an all matte palette. I do love like a simple shimmer on the lid. But this is just such an easy to work with palette. And it's so compact and cute. Great for travel. Next up we have the Kaleidos Futurism 2 Cyber Bronze. I used this, I believe I used this palette for my New Year's look. It was just such a cute little simple look. And I like it a lot. Not necessarily the biggest fan of this color right here. Just feel like it doesn't really... I mean, it goes well with this one, but this one just so it's a different shade compared to this. I wish they kind of matched a little more, but honestly the silver in here is to die for, so totally a good palette. But not as good as this one. Actually, as people say, this is probably their least favorite of the three that came out. I like this one the most just for the color scheme. It is the Astro Pink Futurism 3 palette. This is the color scheme in this one. Personally, I just love these two mattes right here, and then I pop this on the lid. Such an easy go-to look. And they also have like some fun deeper shades too. So really beautiful palette. I like this one more than Cyber Bronze. Most people like Cyber Bronze more than this one. But look how cute this is. So cute. I need to get another Sci-Fi Green since mine broke. Because Sci-Fi Green was like the best out of the trio. And that's the one I don't have, which sucks. Next up in here is another Futurism palette. So this is Electro Turquoise by Kaleidos. Look how pretty. Look how pretty. I need to get closer with these, I guess. Look how pretty. Oh my gosh, and this little white shimmery shade doesn't have too much of a base pigment to it, but it's still really cute. This is like an adorable palette. I'm sorry I haven't been up close with these showing you. I'll try to get up close more. Next up, Beauty Killer palette by Jeffree Star Cosmetics. I've had this since it first released, so years now. It's an okay palette. I used to really love it, but palette expectations have changed since this one, but I do love the easy to store packaging. And after that we have Androgyny, my least favorite Jeffree Star palette, other than the Morphe one. But this makes a great contour shade. That makes a great highlighter. And this Orange Charm shade is probably the one I use the most on my eyes because it's really pretty, but the rest of the bottom row is just really inconsistent and patchy. After that we have a couple, please don't be broken. The Elf and J Kissa palette. We have a couple small palettes. Okay. This is the Elf and J Kissa palette. It's very cute. I reviewed this. I thought it was really cute for like elf quality, elf price. It was pretty decent. I just don't find myself reaching for it ever. Like I never find myself needing any of these random colors, but this highlighter shade is a great for on the lid. After that we have a little mini Visart palette. This is the Petite Pro 2. It's so cute. Like if I was going to travel and I had like a very small makeup bag, or if I was going on an airplane, I could probably just throw this in my bag and it would take up no space at all. Very cute. I'm not really like sure if I believe in Visart being the most outstanding world's best palette quality. But like honestly, if I had to go on a plane and I don't want to bring a big makeup bag, super easy and good to make looks with. Next up, the Hooter Coral Obsessions palettes. This is what this one looks like. It is very pretty, but I don't really reach for it. When I was doing those monthly things where I was like, I need to use these palettes and see how many times I can use them and get the most use out of them for my collection, I did a month with this and I got like 3 looks out of it. I might declutter this next time just because I have only used it those 3 times. Like I never even used it before that month thing. I made myself use it. Okay, so next up is the full size Kaleidos palette. This is their first ever palette. It's the Deep Sea palette. Oh, Deep Sea Luster. I had never heard of Kaleidos before this, and they offered to send me this palette, and I was like, alright, sure, are you cruelty free? They're like, yep, we're made in China, but we're cruelty free. And I was like, that's awesome. And I cannot get over the shimmers, metallic-y shades in this palette. The mattes are really easy to use as well, but holy crap, are these the most beautiful metallic-y shades with duochromes in the world. They're so smooth and beautiful. 10 out of 10. Love this palette. The next palette we have here is from Max with the Makeup. It is the Sweater Weather palette. Really good palette. Not something I reach for all the time, but very pretty to look at anyways. And I did do a look with this one as well. It's like a get ready with me video. After that, we have a very loved palette in my collection. This is the Through My Eyes palette by Colourpop, and I love Sarah E. Look how pretty! I feel like I've talked about this a lot. I really love it. Next up in here, we have the Daydream Palette by Alter Ego, which is a dupe for the new Nude palette by Huda Beauty. Really stunning. I never used the conceal shade. It's like a concealer color in here. Kind of strange. I know the Huda one has that as well, but like I don't want a cream in here with my powder product. But it's very, very beautiful. I need to use this more, honestly, because looking at the color scheme, like, I love this. But I always forget to use it. I think I just have a lot of other neutral palettes in my collection that I forget some of them. Next up is from Colourpop. It is the Midnight Masquerade. Out of the 3 Disney palettes, this one's probably my favorite. It's like my go-to kind of colors. Very neutral with a pop of yellow or a pop of white on the lid. Just very easy to make looks with. Next Colourpop palette is the Bye Bye Birdie collection. I bought this, and then the cooler tone one, which we'll talk about next, just came out, so I like should have waited for just the Flutterby. But this one is very pretty. It's just a little warm for me. So I haven't really, I mean, I reviewed it and everything, and it was very nice quality. But I should have just waited another week when they came out with this one, which is the Flutterby palette, which is a more cool tone color scheme of the Bye Bye Birdie. And this one's more up my alley. So I've used this one a lot more than the Bye Bye Birdie one. Next up is a palette. I have a sleeve on this one because it's really pretty. Is the palette by Folly Fire. It's called Syncope. It's like this. I had to repress this brown shade because it came broken in the mail. But I haven't used this yet. Just because it doesn't really call to me. Like, I like the greens in here, but they look very muted. They're not like grungy colors. They're not fun colors. They're not even in between. They're very just dull. But it's very pretty. I love the packaging on it, but the fact that it came broken, I had to repress it, and then the colors aren't popping for me just hasn't been intriguing for me to use this yet and try it out. Next up, we have a Lovebird palette by Colourpop. This was exclusive to Ulta, I believe. I don't like that the middle row is all pressed glitters. But this is a Super Shock shadow, which is pretty cool to have in a palette, and the rest of the quality is okay. It's a $12 palette. Like, it's not going to be like my favorite palette in the world probably, but you definitely can make some cute looks out of it. Next up in here we have 2 Ace Beauté palettes. This is the Scarlet Dusk palettes. I did a look using both of these palettes on my Instagram and it came out pretty cute. Very warm color scheme for this one. The oranges are nice, but you know, not a color scheme I'm going to reach for all the time because I don't really wear too many warm looks. And this is the Vintage Dawn one. I think I liked the other one more. I don't know, this one has yellows in it, so of course I made like a yellowy orange look out of it. And I really like the color of this green one, but again, these aren't color schemes that I'm like, I need these in my life. So I have both of them, but will I probably use them that much? No. This is why I do declutters every 3 months. I just acquire palettes, I review them, like, I only want to keep things in my collection that I'm really passionate about, and my autofocus on my camera is focusing on his face. That's really weird. Will it focus on this one? No, it doesn't think it's face. Alright. Next palette is the Off Tropic Palette by NYX. I got this from Butte Bean Betty Jean. I think it's really cute color scheme. I like the oranges in here. That's the only thing I've really reached for is the orangey shades and like the yellow. But it's very pretty. Next up in here is the Block Party palette by Suva Beauty. This was in my Try Beauty Box collaboration back last February, so almost a year ago now. This is just a really beautiful palette. I love the quality of this. I do find this Dancing Shoe shade is not the most consistent in the world, but it is a darker shade, so it is to be expected. The shimmers in here are just absolutely stunning. I love the yellow, I love the pink. I love this shade the most in here. It's called Mixtape. It's just so beautiful. But I'm no longer buying Suva Beauty products, so I have this because I love it, and in case I need that little pretty blue shade, and for like memories and stuff, but it's not a palette I'm like advertising on my channel any longer. Next up is the NYX Ultimate Palette. So this was in my last declutter and I decided to declutter it. I listed on Poshmark and then I was like, decided to keep it because I don't know, I feel like I wouldn't get anything for it because it is like a more affordable palette and it has like really cool colors that I really wanted to use still. So I did change my mind on decluttering this one, but it's really cute. Like I could totally live without this. I don't need this in my collection, especially with like the Jawbreaker and everything else. But the fact that I'm not gonna really get any money back for it, and I don't know anybody in my life who wears these colors, I might as well just keep it, so that's what I did. Next up in here is the Yesplease palette by Colourpop. This one's kind of dirty, but this is my new one. So I have one at my boyfriend Adam's house, but it's gonna come back here soon. I'm gonna have him pick up my makeup bag later today and just bring it to my house because we're never there. So I am never gonna part ways with this. This is my second one. I use this a ton when I have orange hair. There's like a big dip in this shade, a little bit of this one, and then like a tiny bit into this shade, just because it is great to make orange eyebrows with when I have orange hair. I absolutely love the quality of this palette. The other one I'm probably gonna hit pan on soon if I focus on it. Going between two palettes, it's hard to hit pan on it. But my other one, my original Yesplease palette, has way more dents in it than this one. This is a newer one, but again, I don't mind having two of these because it is my absolute favorite palette in my collection. Even though I don't wear warm eyeshadow, this is absolutely my favorite yellow. This is a beautiful transition shade with a nice setting the lid shade. It's just so good. It's just so good. I hate when I see people declutter this. I'm like, no, love it. It deserves love. Next up in here is the Friendcation palette by Dose of Colors and Desi and Katie. Oh, this palette, you guys. Stunning, stunning. This shimmer here I absolutely adore. It doesn't have too much of a base pigment to it, so like you can see through it. I put down a matte first usually on the lid, but it's a beautiful palette and I adore Dose of Colors. They're one of those brands that actually put quality in what they're making instead of just pumping out a million palettes, like 20 palettes a year. They actually take time and make their collection special, which I love, and this packaging is covered in glitter, but glitter doesn't pop on your hands, which is fantastic. The next palette we have here is from Pinky Rose Cosmetics. I picked this up from Riley Rose when it was still a thing. This is Center Stage. I don't like this packaging is super crappy. This quality of this image is super blurred out and gross, and the pink does not match the color scheme in the palette whatsoever. And I'm sorry about all the glares in here, but this is the color scheme. It's so pretty. I love the yellowy shades, the gold shades, the neutrals in here. Super, super cute, but I never find myself reaching for the two pressed glitter shades. But yellow shades, neutral shades in here are so nice. Alright, next up is the other Pinky Rose Cosmetics I own. Again, really pixelated, bad packaging on the cover. Like, how could you not get a better quality image for your palette? I don't know. But the Bright Lights palette. This was also a maybe for my declutter in the last video. A last declutter I did. But I decided to keep it. 3 pressed glitters. Never even attempted to use them just because, you know, pressed glitters. But the green shade in here is kind of the reason I'm keeping this. Like, I have a ton of yellows. Yellow is my favorite eyeshadow color. This one's a little more sunflowery than my personal taste, but honestly, I think I'm keeping it for that green. Next up in here is the Sigma Enchanted palette. This is their newest eyeshadow palette. It's just so pretty. It's very romantic. I feel like this is to be the perfect, like, if you had a makeup kit and you wanted to do like really beautiful wedding looks, this and Soft Glam palette would probably be your best friends. It's just so good. It also comes with a double-ended nice quality Sigma brush, and you can use my code if you want to save 10% on Sigma products. Yay! Super cute. I just love the quality of these shadows. There's so many neutrals in here, and then you pop on these pretty shades on the lid. It would just be such a beautiful romantic look. Like, this is probably gonna be, oh, sad. I was like, this is gonna be my Valentine's Day palette, but I'm asked to work Valentine's Day night, scaring people. So sad, but yeah, it's really pretty. Next up is the Gingerbread Spice palette by Too Faced. I also have the extra spicy, it's just in a different drawer right now because I just got it. But the Gingerbread Spice palette, I reviewed this and I fell in love. I'm so glad that, see, it's just a mess in here. It's a mess in here because of this one shade that's crap. This shade is garbage. It's like a chunky, icy grossness. I think I'm putting tape over this shadow just because it makes a mess into my palette everywhere. But it's so beautiful. Like, this palette was such beautiful quality. I loved the hot pink look I came up with out of this shade. I love this palette. I really do love this palette. Do I ever reach for it? Do I know the last time I used it? No. But I do love it dearly. Alright, next up is the Edward Scissorhands palette by Sugarpill. I love Edward Scissorhands, obviously. When this palette was announced, I was like, I have to have it. And I never owned like a really high-end palette before. I think this is my first high-end palette that was like real, because I feel like I bought some off eBay I thought were real naked palettes, and they were fake. But my first ever high-end palette. So good. It has my favorite eyeshadow, Ice Angel, in here. You can see I've made quite a dent in that shade. Honestly, this is a really weird color scheme. I would never reach for this palette. I never use this palette unless I just want Ice Angel. But the quality is so good. It's Edward Scissorhands themed. It's limited edition. You can't get any more, so I'm never parting ways with it. Ever. Next up is the Temptress palette by Alter Ego. This is a dupe for Sultry palette. Or Naked Reloaded if you want to think about it, because they're basically the same palette. But it's supposed to be a dupe for Sultry by Anastasia Beverly Hills. Really cute. I love all of these shimmers in here. They're really easy to pop on the lid with like a brown in the crease. Pretty cute. I don't use this as much as some of my other Alter Ego palettes, honestly. But it is very pretty and easy to store. Lastly, in this drawer we have My Love, which I have like a love-hate feeling towards right now. I don't know why. The Lorac California Dreaming palette. This was limited edition. One of the first ever high-end palettes that I own. Because I bought this in Ulta when it first came out. It was like at the register and I was like, I have to have it. So I had Daniel at the time go in and grab this for me because I was like, I can't spend $35 on this little palette. But if he did it for me, it counted. So this is just, it's stunning. I put it in my like go-to palette drawer the other day and I made like a cute look out of it and I felt great about it. But I feel like the shadows are aging and it's not as good as it once was. But because I have such a sentimental attachment to this dumb palette, which I hate the cover of, I think it looks super tacky. I don't know. I liked the look I came out with it, but I'm like, it's not what it once was. Which is sad, because I love it dearly still, and I don't want to part ways with it when I do my next declutter. But if I'm not reaching for it, what's the point, you know? Alright, this might be a little bit of a weird angle. I apologize. But this palette was recently redone. It didn't used to look like this. I recently reorganized it and like laid these all, so I can like flip through them. I think it's very nicely organized. I love how this palette looks. I mean, this drawer looks right now. It is pretty empty compared to this other one where I had them all tucked in there, like a ton of palettes. This is less palettes in this drawer, but it's very cute. So let's start off with the Conspiracy palette. It is my other Jeffree Star palette. This is in the collaboration with Shane Dawson, and it is stunning. I don't feel like I have to say anything about this. I need to reach into the darker shades more, like the dark green and stuff. I haven't really used those yet, so I need to do that soon. But I have this on its own little thing. They don't lay flat like the Blood Sugar Blue Blood, so I have it like staying out, and it matches like the black and white kind of front palettes I have going on right now. I'll close this a little bit so you can see the rest of it. But next up we have the Glamlight Pizza palettes that I got in my Glamlight mystery box that I bought and did like an unboxing of. This is the Veggie Lovers. This is my favorite one, clearly. Super cute, love green shadows. I tried to smush this back together since my nail got stuck in it, but I did a look with this and put it on Instagram and you guys really enjoyed it. I love it too. This other one is the Glamlight Meat Lovers. I haven't used this yet. I don't really use pink shadows that much, but like this color ham is calling my name. Maybe I'll do like a purpley pink look with these two shades. But it's super cute nonetheless. And Bacon looks very versatile. Like, it's like kind of a silvery shade, but when you turn it to light, it looks kind of bronze. So I need to use this one. I love the Veggie Lover one. So good. I need to try more Glamlight shadows now because I really like them. Actually, before I put these back, let's go back here. Oh no, can I even get these out anymore? To some single shadows. This is a custom palette. Thank you, Eliza, for this beautiful palette. And we have some Colourpop singles from palettes I decluttered and depotted. We have two Anastasia big shades. These are all just like the Colourpop Element of Surprise, the My Little Pony palette, You Had Me at Hello. These are just some of my favorite shades from those palettes. Back here we have some good singles. So this is a magnetic palette from Amazon. These are just so cute. These are a mix of like Morphe and Ofra and all kinds of things. These are really pretty. There's a ton of green in there and blues. And then we have another magnetic palette. I really love how these magnetic palettes, they feel like really luxurious and heavy. And we just have some random stuff in here. So these are some deck of Scarlet bronzer and 2 eyeshadows. Saint Petty from Shade Beauty. We have another Shade Beauty highlight that broke and I repressed. I believe this one is Oaf Sugarpill. So these are Sugarpill shadows down here. So yeah, random ones. I honestly never reach for these. But what am I going to do with them, you know? Like, I just have them now. I would probably use these more if I pulled this palette out because they are really pretty and I love these colors and they're super nice. But as far as like my depotted Colourpop ones and this random one I didn't know what was in, I never reached for these. I don't know why I decided depotting was cool. Because I didn't want to keep all the palettes. But I definitely don't need these single shadows. But there's some brands that have single shadows I want to try. So I'm like, I can just add them to that and use the actual palette if I get around to buying those. I don't know. Next up we have these little Colourpop palettes. We have like a little stack of these. So first we have Smoke Show. I got this in a Bijou Beauty box. These palettes are like the little 9-pan $12 palettes. You can use code 5Bridget to save $5 off Colourpop. I think it only works on orders over $20 and not on new releases, but it does save $5. So this is the first one, Smoke Show. I haven't used this yet just because I wanted to use it when I first got it because obviously it was like the newest Colourpop 12-pan palette, but I kept like coming across more palettes in my collection, so I never got around to using it. This is the Honey palette. You know, I got this like the day it released. So good. Love yellow eyeshadow. The next palette after that is the Lilac You a Lot, which is like this little lavendery one. Very cute, but I don't really reach for purple eyeshadow. Next up is Ooh La La. I actually got like a good amount of views on this review when I did this when it first came out. Really pretty palette. I did like 3 looks with it. The Shayla and Colourpop Proceed with Caution palette I haven't used yet. I keep meaning to. But again, there's just so many things coming out lately. I'm glad that this month, like January, it seems like less things are coming out. Like brands really listened and less things are getting pumped out to the market. So I think I'll actually have a chance this year to use products in my collection that I haven't given enough attention to, which is great. I think they're finally listening that we don't need something every day from them. And lastly, out of these little 12-pan in this drawer, we have the Just My Luck palette, which is right here. These are a little bit more difficult to open, but I do like the small compact packaging. And the green one is quite nice. I also have the mint one, but it is in the other drawer. Next up is the Mini Conspiracy palette by Jeffree Star and Shane Dawson. Very nice little mini palette. This was again in my ranked video of Jeffree Star palettes if you want to see how it compares to the rest of them. Next up we have Mini Breaker by Jeffree Star. This one's so satisfying to look at just because I like this shade right here. But I never reached for this. I think I used it once when I did that video. I think I did that look with this. Dido Eco Earth palette. Really good actually. I was not expecting to like this that much. The quality's fantastic on it. Really good. Next up, the Makeup Ready Set Summer palette. I never reach for this. It's good quality. I love this green shade here. It is a beautiful quality palette. But I never found myself reaching for it. I kind of forget that I own this sometimes. It kind of sucks because I do like the Makeup's quality. We also have their Flower Child palette, which was their first palette, I believe. And it's just really pretty. I love the theme of this one. It's so cute. How satisfying is it that all these palettes are like the same uniform little cute size? I can just flip through them. So convenient. I love how this looks. Next up we have a stack of Alter Ego palettes. So this is the Goddess palette, my most used Alter Ego palette. It's a dupe for Natasha Denona Gold. Natasha Denona Gold doesn't look as good to me as this one does because apparently her formula is hard to use if you're not familiar with it. This one has such many like green goldy shades in here, like mustardy goldy shades. So unique. I love it. We also have the Aurora palette by Alter Ego. Like, it's supposed to be like the Natasha Denona Sunset palette, but way more affordable, and I do have a discount code with them if you want to use it. To save some extra dollars off this already affordable palette. So good. And we also have the Sahara palette, which is like a really pretty cool tone palette. I don't know what this is a dupe for. I think it's another Natasha Denona palette. But it's really pretty. Like, this shade right here, so good. Like, these are just so pretty. Like, Goddess is my favorite. But they're all very nice. And they feel heavy, magnetic, and like luxurious for being an affordable palette. It's awesome. I don't know how they do it for that price. Next up is the Tarte Unleashed palette. Love this palette. Don't use it that much anymore. I made myself use it when I first got it because I knew I didn't need it. But it smells so good. Like, Tarte palettes smell fantastic. I don't care what anybody says. Next up is the Makeup Monsters, which is now Menagerie, Dragon Child palette. This is another palette. Oh no, this shade broke. The palette, like the eyeshadows are magnetic. It sticks to the side of the palette. Weird. I need to clean this up. I'm going to stick this out of the drawer for a second. But I also let Adam use this for Halloween looks. I think it's really cool. I'm sad that shadow broke on the corner, but it is very pigmented. Alright, next up, we have one eyeshadow palette in this drawer. It is the Alien palette by Jeffree Star Cosmetics. I keep it in this drawer because it's so big and bulky. And I use it for my brows a lot, so I just set it on top of, like, these. But the Alien palette by Jeffree Star Cosmetics is a great quality palette. I really do love it. I use it quite a lot because I'm into more grungier colors lately. I don't know how many times I have to say that to make my point, but I like it a lot. And these, like, muted kind of nudie shades in this yellow one, super nice as well. It's not all about the dark shades in this palette. It's just really good quality overall. I use this shadow a lot. I have a huge dent in it in this corner right now because I use it for my brows. I do use a brow pomade that's purple as well, but I find this is the easiest way to do my brows lately. And this is like my go-to like new palettes I'm messing with drawer. So I brought back out the Gwen Stefani palette by Urban Decay because it's a classic. It's a classic. I'm trying to hit pan on the shade Skimp. I'm probably going to. It's just a great color to like set your lid if you don't want to like take forever to blend out like a really pigmented shadow. I love this palette a lot. I don't know what to say. I wish it would come back permanently. It's so cute. It's so Gwen in the bathwater themed palette cover. So, oh my gosh, love. Next up is the Gingerbread Extra Spicy. So we saw the original Gingerbread palette. This is the Extra Spicy. I just unboxed this. It was with the BoxyCharm video. It was the What's My Box with Ellen Eggs. He sent me like this and I thought it was super cute and super sweet. And I just did a look with it the other day and it came out so pretty. These are so pigmented. I was just so shocked. It's just beautiful quality all around. So good. And very scented too. I might let it air out a little bit. It's very scented. Next up, I love this palette. If I'm not filming a look that day, I'm wearing this palette so much lately. So this is the Bare Necessities palette by Colourpop. Ugh. Gosh, it's like a beautiful new dream. It's just so pretty. Like the neutrals in here are just so beautiful. It's like an effortless palette. You can mix any of these colors together to make a really nice look. I love it. Next up, we just reviewed this Meant to Be palette by Colourpop. It is adorable. This is what it looks like. You can see my full review of it if you want to. It is just so pretty. And I couldn't stop posting looks on my Instagram of this look. So cute. I still want to post like the video of my close-up because I feel like the close-up of this eye moving and stuff looks so pretty. I'm really into that palette. I'm so glad I have it. Next up, we have a lot of green palettes in here. You'll see like the mint one. This is the Fairy Tale Robin Hood palette. Came in their BoxyCharm from Storybook Cosmetics. I really enjoy the quality of this. The fake trying to make it look old and stuff looks like crap. It looks dirty. But the quality of the eyeshadows is just so bomb. They're so pigmented, so smooth, easy to work with. The shimmers go on like a dream. They just glide on your eyes. I love it. I just wish it wasn't so thick. Like, I know it's a book. This takes up a lot of room. And next up we have the Lunar Beauty Greek Goddess palette. I feel like it's cool that like I'm naming all these palettes even without titles on them. I know what these are. Oh, this does have the title on it technically. You know what I'm saying? Like, I feel like we know so much about things in our collection. I'm like, wouldn't we forget things? I don't know, because I forget what I eat sometimes. Like, what did I eat for lunch? I don't know, but I can tell you everything about this palette. So this is the color scheme in here. I'm so glad Lunar Beauty is Afterpay because I was able to grab this on Black Friday on sale. So good. So good. Definitely not exciting. Like, it's a very, very basic, boring palette with a pop of blue, which is very 2018, but I love the quality of these. The bats are so easy, and the shimmers are so easy. Like, I don't have to think about it when I'm making a look with this palette. It's just effortless. Next up, the most beautiful, aesthetically pleasing palette in my collection. The Moonspell palette by Lunar Beauty. Look how beautiful this is. I can't even get over it. This is the palette. It's so pretty. It's so pretty. I'm gonna get into more purple eyeshadows, I think, just because I really want to use this top row. They're very pinky purpley. I don't really wear pinky purpley eyeshadow, but I'm gonna have to get into it. This is going to be the year of me using shades and using styles of makeup that I'm not used to and not comfortable with. Last year I was like, I'm going to try darker eyeshadow, get more comfortable with it. And I did, and I'm a lot more comfortable with it now. I'm still not like great with black eyeshadow and everything, but I'm more comfortable with dark looks. And this year I want to do like purples and pinks and things that I'm not comfortable with and more dark looks and get into more of a vampy style, I think. Because it's really who I want to be. It's who I am on the inside. But visually I've never been able to express myself how I want to because I've always been somewhere it's not acceptable. Now I live somewhere where no one cares what you do. And I live on my own for the first time ever. I mean, this is my first ever experience living on my own, so I've really been able to adjust my style to exactly what I want, which is very dark and aesthetic. But it makes me very happy. I feel like there's something so beautiful in darkness. So, yeah, that was way too deep for me talking about eyeshadow palettes. This next palette, I'm holding it so tight. The Gemini Pellet by Melt Cosmetics. When you guys sent this to me, I could not be more grateful in my entire life, and I wore it the same day I got it because I was like, I have to try this out. I've worn it 3 times so far, and I've only had it for 6 days, I think? 6 days? The Gemini Palette by Melt. I could never justify this price to myself because it's very expensive and I didn't know the quality of the shadows. Every time, like I've used this 3 times so far, every single time, I'm like, oh crap, I didn't know these were so pigmented. Oh crap, I forgot they were this pigmented. I'll just dip into it like a normal palette, and it's a lot of pigment, so I need to be like more careful when I dip into this palette. There's no way I can ever hit pan on these shades because you only need like a tiny tap of product, and it goes so, like, it goes everywhere. Yesterday I did like a yellowy look with this on the lid, where it came out like kind of peachy, and then the day before I used just the greens without anything on the lid. It looked really nice, and then I did a video the other day where I was wearing like a bunch of greens, and it was really pretty. So this palette, I'm in love. It's everything that I hoped it would be, honestly. Next up in here is one of my all-time favorite palettes, the Scarlet in Bloom. I've really been using the Bare Necessities lately to stop myself from using this constantly, but I've put a good hurt on this palette. I love it. When I start reaching for this again, like if I use it, I just want to use it every day. It smells great. I love the way Tarte palettes smell, and it's just a beautiful quality palette. Like I don't think that I'll ever like not love this palette. Next up in here is the Lethal Cosmetics palette. I don't know what this one's called. I think it's the Daydream Palette, the Dreamscape palette. Anyways, I did a full review of the Lethal Cosmetics like first impressions, and it's so good. It's so good. I want to do a look with like the yellows in here. I did a green look in my first impressions, with like the gray, the green, and the bluey shade. I want to do a yellow look next with maybe a pop of the red on the lower lash line. It's just such a good palette, honestly. It's so good. Next up is the Charity Cosmetics Come As You Are palette. I recently did a video with Charity, and this is the palette I wore on my eyes because it's a cool grungy palette. Is it easy to work with? Yes. Is it also a palette I forget I own? Kind of. Kind of. It's really pretty. I love the quality of it. I think it's beautiful. These 2 shades will make a beautiful look by themselves, just looking at those. And I do like the greens in here. I think I wore a green look in that palette, and a green look in that video with these 2 greens. But honestly, ever since I had Gemini and the Moonspell palette, I've remembered to use this. Which is no shade because it is a great quality palette. I like stand by everything I said about it. I just have a lot of color schemes similar to this right now. So I put it in this drawer to remember how to use it. Next up in here is the Colored Rain Queen of Hearts. So beautiful. Legendary palette. Like when this was limited edition sold out, people were selling it for over $100. And I can see why. I wore this the other day. I put it in this drawer so I'll make myself use it because I've had it for so long. And it's still stunning. Next up, all these palettes in here are like ones I need to use or I use a lot already, is the Life's a Drag palette by Lunar Beauty. My first ever Lunar Beauty palette. Really big and bulky. I like the new packaging and size better. But the quality of this, so good. Like I fell in love with it when I first reviewed it. Trade and Mug are just beautiful, beautiful brown shades. Honestly, this palette's beautiful except for this shade. I hate this shade. We don't talk about her because she's garbage. The rest of it, so stunning and easy to work with. I put it in this drawer to use. Honestly though, with my other Lunar Beauty palettes, I've been reaching for those more. But this is just really pretty. Anyways, you guys, that is it for today's video. Thank you so much for watching. Please let me know, out of all the palettes I own, do you own any and which one is your favorite? I would love to know your favorite palette that I also own so I could be like, I could agree with that. down below. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you later. If you're not subscribed to my channel already, I would appreciate if you did that. Bye!